We are back. What is up, Film Club? Oh my god, it's been far, far too long. But it's not all bad because I'm sure you've been watching movies on your own. I sure have. I've also been making some, but we'll talk about those later. Anyway, it's really good to be back. We haven't done this for so long. We were doing this every week. If you were part of that back in the day, then welcome back. If this is your very first time checking this out, then welcome to the Filmstruck Film Club. I'm your host, Carson Higgins. This is my good buddy Groot. He is always here with me, watching all these movies. And we had an excellent pick this week. It was something that I can't believe I'd never seen all the way through. I had started this movie before, but I never watched the whole damn thing. I don't know why that happened. I remember when I first tried to watch this movie, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed what I was watching. I just never finished it, and years went by, and here we are. But this week, we watched the Best Picture winner from 1950. It won 6 Academy Awards. It has a 99% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was voted number 28 out of 100 on the AFI Top 100 Films of All Time. It also has a pretty famous line from it, so fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night because we watched Joseph Mankiewicz's All About Eve. This movie's incredible. One of the best written movies ever, probably, based off an article from a Cosmopolitan magazine, The Wisdom of Eve, where it basically follows our story, where there's a famous actress, there's a young ingenue who rolls into town, she gets taken under the wing of said famous actress and systematically steals her frickin' life. Yeah, spoiler alert a little bit. But this movie, though it is all about Eve, it's also totally all about Margot Channing, who is played by the one and only Miss Bette Davis, who should have probably won her 3rd Academy Award for this movie. Yeah, that's right. She had 2 Oscars already before this movie came out in 1950. Bette Davis was kind of the shit. She was a brassy lady. She talked a lot of shit. She was hard to work with, apparently, at some times. But I watched a really great behind the scenes on the making of this movie. And apparently, she wasn't as bad as they had, anticipated her to be. She had kind of a reputation for rewriting a lot of the movies that she was in, and she would start directing them, and she would start shit with the other actresses in the movies, and she was a hardcore lady. But apparently, she liked this script so much that she didn't want to change a word of it. So the making of this movie, Mankiewicz, the other women in the movie, they were all kind of like, I thought it was going to be worse. But anywho, yeah, I mentioned this movie won 6 Oscars. It probably should have won more because this movie had a whopping 4 actresses nominated for acting in this movie, and not a single one of them won. Maybe you know why that happened. A lot of times this happens, even in modern day, where if 2 people are nominated in the same category for the same movie or something, they're gonna split their own vote. And my girl Ann Baxter, who plays Eve in this movie, she lobbied to go up as a nominee for Best Actress instead of Best Supporting Actress. So then her and Bette Davis were both in the Best Actress category against none other than Gloria Swanson from Sunset Boulevard. And they all split the votes. And someone named Judy Holliday won for a movie called Born Yesterday. Not familiar with this movie. Not familiar with Judy Holliday. Sorry, Judy. I'm sure you're great. But it's one of those situations where it's did the best person win that year? I don't know if they did. Yeah, this is another kind of fun thing. Joseph Mankiewicz, just such a great Hollywood screenwriter. A great director too in his own right, but he, after All About Eve is kind of his best movie. He directed the famous flop of Cleopatra, a 4-hour romp through Egypt. He also did a musical that I love. He did Guys and Dolls with Frank Sinatra and Marlon Brando. If you've never watched that, you got to see Marlon Brando sing. But anyway, back to All About Eve. Yeah, in 1950, man, this movie was it had to be pretty scandalous. It's because it's not overtly sexy or anything like that. It's more just it seems very of its time. A movie that sort of is like that to me is Birdman. It similarly takes place in the theater, and all of the characters at various times kind of comment on the state of theater and the commercialization of it, the artistic blah 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 blah. So this film kind of deals with that a little bit. It's very much a backstage drama where we get to see theater people, not necessarily being big caricatures of theater people. They seem real, and they have exquisite vocabulary. I was watching this movie and I was like, man, I haven't felt this way about a screenplay since I watched Network. And if you've never seen Network, go watch Network. But yeah, this movie, it just rocked my world, man. The very beginning, I thought it was so clever how they introduce everybody. It's like we're at an awards dinner, and Eve Harrington is getting an award for something, and all these people are. There's a voiceover where we're kind of explaining like why we're here and how Eve like fucked over everybody in the room, and as the movie goes on, we see how these relationships are made and then how they deteriorate to arrive at this awards function. But yeah, man, Eve is just basically a diabolical sociopath. She lies a lot, makes up all kinds of stories, and weasels her way in there to basically take over Margot Channing, Betty Davis's whole career. She gets in there as the understudy and then fabricates a situation where she gets to go on, and of course she like hits up all of the newspapers so that they'll come and review the thing, and then she's like fucking being a succubus over here, stealing everybody's husband. She's wild, man. Eve Harrington's a hardcore lady, but she's ambitious as fuck. She reminded me of her ambition reminded me of like Miles Teller's character in Whiplash a little bit. Just like, nothing's gonna get in my way. I'm gonna be the best, and like, you know, fear should be pumping through your heart if you're in my way. Yeah, just some of the... Oh, you know what? This is also a fun thing. Marilyn Monroe showed up in this movie. That's kind of cool. If I'm not mistaken, it's her first like real on-screen moment, and she holds her own against some like pretty incredible people. Of course, she's stunning to look at, but we don't need to further objectify our girl Marilyn. R.I.P. Love you, girl. Yeah, I'm just like... I wish I had more to say, like something insightful, but there's been so much written about this movie and so much said about this movie. It's an all-time classic. It's an American masterpiece. So do yourself a favor and check out All About Eve. I watched it on the Criterion Channel. It's streaming there right now. I bet there's a million ways you can watch it. You can probably rent it, or maybe you can just go into your parents' DVD cabinet and take it. I don't know. It's around. But yeah, man, we're back. It feels good to be back. I hope you're like happy to be here. I'm happy to be here. Groot's happy to be here. But keep in touch, man. Let me know what you think of the movies. Let me know what you want to see. Follow us at Filmstruck Film Club. Hit me up. Let me know what movies you've been watching, how you feel about the movies that we pick over here. And yeah, I'm just really glad to be back on this thing, man. We're going to have a great summer. We're going to be watching movies every week. So keep in touch. Stay tuned. Have a great week or whatever, and yeah, much love. Gonna see you next week. We're gonna have a new pickup, so be on the lookout for that. Talk to you soon, folks.